Hello and a very warm welcome to Patashala Bulletin. I am Anil Kumar, and in this podcast we are going to see some important current affairs of the day. Here are the highlights for the day. No immunity for acts of vandalism, says Supreme Court. Prime Minister to roll out Academic Credit Bank. Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021 to repeal and replace the Lighthouse Act 1927. So let's see each one of them in detail. No immunity for acts of vandalism, says Supreme Court. The Supreme Court held that the lawmakers cannot indulge in criminal acts on the parliament or assembly floors and then take cover behind the right to free speech. The court refused the Kerala government's plea to withdraw prosecution of top Left Democratic Front LDF leaders accused of vandalism and went on destruction of public property on the assembly floor during the budget speech in 2015. The state government and the accused LDF leaders who were in opposition in 2015 had claimed parliamentary privilege, arguing that the incident occurred inside the assembly hall. They claimed immunity from criminal prosecution. The accused MLAs are facing charges of criminal trespass, mischief, and destruction of public property. Television images from the day of the incident show legislators come to blows on House floor and hurl chairs, computers, and other public property soon after the finance minister began his budget speech during the UDF's government tenure. What are the Supreme Court's observations on this? Acts of vandalism cannot be said to be manifestations of freedom of speech and be termed as proceedings of the assembly. It was not the intention of the drafters of the Constitution to extend the interpretation of freedom of speech to include criminal acts by placing them under the veil of protest. Legislatures cannot unleash violence, run riot in parliament or a legislative assembly, and then claim parliamentary privilege and immunity from criminal prosecution. The parliamentary privileges and immunities are not gateways for legislatures to claim exemption from the law of the land, especially criminal law. Boundaries of lawful behavior apply to all, including MLAs who hold responsible elected office in the legislative assembly. No member of an elected legislature can claim either a privilege or an immunity to stand above the sanctions of the criminal law, which applies equally to all citizens. The court explained that the purpose of bestowing privileges and immunities to elected members of the legislature was to enable them to perform their essential functions without hindrance, fear, or favor. The essential function of the House is collective deliberation and decision making. These privileges bear a functional relationship to the discharge of functions of the legislature. They are not a mark of status which makes legislators stand on an unequal pedestal. So what are these parliamentary privileges? Parliamentary privileges are certain rights and immunities enjoyed by members of parliament individually and collectively so that they can effectively discharge their functions. Parliamentary privileges were defined in Article 105 of the Indian Constitution and those of state legislatures in Article 194. When any of these rights and immunities are disregarded, the offence is called a breach of privilege and is punishable under law of parliament. Besides, rule number 222 in chapter 20 of Lok Sabha rule book and correspondingly rule number 187 in chapter 16 of the Rajya Sabha rule book governs these privileges. Privileges of parliamentarians. Freedom of speech. According to Indian Constitution, the members of parliament enjoy freedom of speech and expression. No member can be taken to task anywhere outside the four walls of house, example the court of law, or cannot be discriminated against for expressing his or her views in the house and its committees. Freedom from arrest. It is understood that no member shall be arrested in a civil case 40 days before and after the adjournment of house, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also when the house is in session. It also means that no member can be arrested within the presence of the parliament without the permission of the house in which he or she belongs. Exemption from attendance as witness. The members of parliament also enjoy freedom from attendance as witnesses. Privileges of parliament. What are the privileges of parliament? Right to publish debates and proceedings. Though by convention the parliament does not prohibit the press to publish its proceedings, yet technically the house has every such right to forbid such publication. Again, while a member has the privilege of freedom of speech in parliament, he has no right to publish it outside parliament. Anyone violating this rule can be held responsible for any libelous matter it may contain under the common law rules. Right to exclude strangers. Each House of Parliament enjoys the right to exclude strangers, non-members or visitors from the galleries at any time and to resolve the debate with closed doors. Right to punish members and outsiders for breach of its privileges. In India, Parliament has been given punitive powers to punish those who are adjudged guilty of contempt of the House. Such contempt can be committed by the members of any House or an outsider. When a member of the House is involved for parliamentary misbehavior or commits contempt, he can be expelled from the House. Right to regulate the internal affairs of the House. The House has the right to regulate its internal affairs. A member of the House is free to say whatever he likes, subject only to the internal discipline of the House or the committee concerned. Prime Minister to roll out Academic Credit Bank. On the first anniversary of National Education Policy, the Centre plans to officially roll out some initiatives promised in the policy, such as credit transfer system that will allow multiple entry and exit options in higher education, as well as engineering programs in regional languages. However, other promised reforms such as Higher Education Commission of India, the 4-year undergraduate degree, and the Common University Entrance Test are not ready yet. The impact of COVID-19 on education. On the positive side, COVID-19 has led to vast increase in online education. Although it was envisaged in the National Education Policy, Although it was envisaged in the National Education Policy, no one thought digital education would pick up so quickly. On the other hand, there are of course some constraints in NEP implementation because there has been little physical interaction for over a year. While the government has made all preparations to roll out a common entrance test for all central universities as promised under the National Education Policy, it was postponed in order not to put students under further stress given all the other COVID-19 disruptions that have already faced this year. What is this Academic Bank of Credits? Academic Bank of Credit refers to as ABC, is a virtual storehouse which will keep records of academic credit secured by a student. It is drafted on lines of National Academic Depository. It will function as a commercial bank where students will be the customers and ABC will offer several services to the students. Students will have to open an academic bank account and every account holder would be provided with unique ID and standard operating procedure. The academic account of students will have credits awarded by higher education institutes to students for the courses they are pursuing. However, ABC will not accept any credit course document directly from the students and its institutions which will make the deposits in students' account. What will the ABC do? ABC will be responsible for opening, closing and validating the academic accounts of students. It will also perform tasks including credit verification, credit accumulation, credit transfer, and credit resumption of students, and promotion of ABC among the stakeholders. The courses will also include online and distance mode courses offered through national schemes like SWAYAM, NPTEL, VLab, etc. The validity of these academic credits earned by students will be up to 7 years. The validity can also vary based on the subject or discipline. Students can redeem these credits. ABC's impact on educational institutions. The participation of higher education institutions in the ABC scheme will enable students to build their degrees as per their choices. The participating higher education institutions will have to amend their rules in terms of course registration, course requirements, acceptance for interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary courses, credits to be offered to those courses, credit transfers, credit acceptance from the approved institutions. As per UGC guidelines, the higher education institutions will have to allow students to acquire credits 50 to 70% of credits assigned to a degree from any institute. Students, depending upon their needs, can take this opportunity. Students who opt to shift their institution will have to get the remaining 30 to 50% credits from the education institute they have registered with. This says UGC will ensure that students secure the minimum credits to be secured in the core subject area. If any university or college registered with ABC does not fulfill the conditions or requirements for the implementation of the ABC scheme, the Commission may recommend the removal of such an institution from ABC and any other appropriate penal punishment as decided by the Commission. Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021 to repeal and replace the Lighthouse Act 1927. Recently, the Parliament has passed the Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021. The bill will repeal the Lighthouse Act 1927, an over 9-decade-old law governing the traditional navigation, that is lighthouses. Let's see some background about this. Until now, the administration and management of lighthouse and lightships in India is governed by Lighthouse Act 1927 for safe navigation. Lighthouses serve two main purposes. One is the navigational aid and second is to warn boats of dangerous areas. It is like a traffic sign on the sea. However, as the technology evolved, systems were put in place where, with the help of radar and other sensors, vessels were advised from shore about the position. Thus, Vessel Traffic Services (VTS) came into existence and found wide acceptability. These modern technologically improved aids to marine navigation system have changed their profile from a massive service to that of passive as well as interactive service. The need for enactment of a new act is necessitated to provide an appropriate statutory framework which reflects the modern role of marine aids to navigation and to be in compliance with India's obligation under international conventions. The salient features of the bill. The major main objectives were incorporating the global best practices and technological developments, complying with India's international obligations in the field of marine aids to navigation, making the legislative framework user-friendly, promoting ease of doing businesses. The scope of the law. The bill applies to the whole of India, including various maritime zones, including territorial waters, continental shelf, and exclusive economic zone. Defined mechanisms. It defines aid to navigation as a service, system, or service external to vessels, designed and operated to enhance safe and efficient navigation of individual vessels and vessel traffic. Vessel traffic service means a service implemented under the Act to improve the safety and efficiency of vessel traffic and to protect the environment. Institutional mechanism. The bill provides that the central government shall appoint a Director General who will inter alia advise the central government on matters related to aids to navigation. It also provides for appointments of Deputy Director Generals and Directors for districts. Heritage Lighthouse. The bill empowers the central government to designate any aid to navigation under the control as Heritage Lighthouse. In addition to their functions as aids to navigation, such lighthouses will be developed for educational, cultural, and tourist purposes. Offences and penalties. It comprises new schedule of offences along with commensurate penalties for obstructing and damaging the aids to navigation and non-compliance with directives issued by the central government and other bodies. What are the intended benefits? Improved legal framework for matters related to aids to navigation and vessel traffic services, and covers the future developments in the field of marine navigation. Management of vessel traffic services for enhancing the safety and efficiency of ship and to protect the environment. Skill development to training and certification for the operators of aids to navigation and vessel traffic services at par with international standards. Auditing and accreditation of institutions to cater to the need of training and certification at par with global standards. Marking of wreck in general waters to identify sunk or stranded vessels for safe and efficient navigation. Development of lighthouses for the purpose of education, culture, and tourism, which would tap the tourism potential of coastal regions and contribute to their economy. With this, it's a wrap of the podcast for the day. Bye for now.